Hi, in this video I will show you how to put together this Frankie's Bride treat box, which is an SVG file from Simply Crafty SVGs. So we're going to go ahead and make Frankie's Bride treat box. So this is kind of what it looks like. There's some slight modifications since this one. But basically it's just a little gift box, a little treat box. And I have Frankie as well, so that's another design and another video. With the big hair, and then the back of it's the back of the head. So rather than doing a double-sided. So let's go ahead, and here are the pieces. So we have the hair, the front, the back hair, and the back. And then here's this part. So this part, this little back part will attach to that, and these are the side panels. So we all have the little parts, the pieces. The facial are in here. I'll show you how to do that. So let's just start with these panels. They only go one way, so like that. And I already inked the edge of these. And I'm using art glitter glue. I just misplaced it for a minute. And mostly American Craft textured cardstock for the cardstock. Oops. So this centers, and make sure you have it the correct way, else it won't. It's longer. So if I go like this, it's not going to work. So it's longer up and down. So when it folds, so let's go ahead and pre-fold it. That'll be the sides of the box. So those are little spiders. I know you can't see the details. But this little digital paper, I made it teeny. I could have made it a little bit bigger to highlight the spiders. I have the same paper I used for the Frankie box too. They're essentially the same size, even though if you put them together they'll look slightly. This one is bigger because of the hair. So let me show you the Frankie box if you're interested, but it's another video. So there it is right there. So next to each other they're like this. So I could have made his forehead longer, but I decided not to. I thought she made her own statement. So I might as well just let her make her own statement. So this is the front. We're not going to do that quite yet. I have some little pieces of glitter. So this is the back piece, so this will go under. And I already inked the edges a little bit. But we can't add glue on this because we have to know where to glue. So you just want to go beyond that, like that. And I apologize if there's any kind of flaws in this video. It's a new place that I'm filming from, a new home location. So you want to go ahead and match this up. And I have the texture pointing down because it's textured paper. I'm putting it lightly on, but making sure that I match up the edges. So I went a little bit too low on the glue, but that's okay. That's the back. And so here's the back panel, making sure that it's situated properly. I'm going to go ahead and put that on so we can add glue to this, the edge of this panel. So all the piecing is just easier to put together first before you put the box together, because everything flat is always easier. So I like to line it up on one edge and then lightly place it and do my little wiggling, and that's why I like wet glue. Some people prefer to use something like score tape or adhesive tape, but the reason I don't really use that as much, maybe on cards, because it doesn't give me the wiggle room that I want to be able to move it. So once you place it, it's stuck. I mean, there's ways to unstick it, but that's the way it works. So if we want to have a little, we don't want the white to show up, so I already put a little ink on the edges. But this is what I did, just so you can see what I did. I'll bring this over. This is Distress Oxide and a little makeup brush that I got on Amazon, so let me move that out of the way. just to give you the technique, because I know I show things and then people don't know how to do it. So let's get this in. Make sure this is nice and... So this is a little craft mat I'm using. And I just like to get the excess off. And that's how I did this little edge right here. I'm just going to go around the edge of this one more time. And you could just go the other way. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of the black on the edge of that white so it's not as visible. See? So when you put it together as sandwich-like, it's not as visible. So that's how I do that. So that's how I actually created the little shadow around all these panels, is with Distress Oxide and a little makeup brush, which they have a full set of colors. I'll put a link to them. So this is my setup, just so you know. I'm just going to reach over here. And my black goes right here. So these are sold separately, but I use them for different colors, so it's nice. And it takes a little getting used to, but it's fun. So we did that, so the back's all ready to go. This is going to attach to this. So let's go ahead and see how it just goes right there. Just fits right on there. That's the back panel. So you can either add glue to this or the bottom piece. Just make sure you don't add glue to the tab yet. So again, I just loosely set it on there until I get it close. It's so much easier with bigger pieces too. You can see another side. A little green coming through. The other thing, if you don't like the green showing through, you can always take a black marker and go around the edge really lightly to hide that. So that's another option. So now we have the face, so that takes a little bit more work. But let's do the hair first. So we already did the hair, so we know how that goes. So I'm going to move that out so we don't have any issues with. So one's going to go on one side, so make sure you have the correct side. And if you use textured cardstock like I do, you'll know which side's which, because it'll only go one way. And then this will go in the middle. So this matches up. There's a little indentation right there. See how it just fits in place? So we're just going to do that. So focus on this indentation on the top to get it into place. And then it'll line up right there perfectly. So same thing here. Whatever's easier for you to line it up with. I always pick a thing, either like a noticeable like little curve. So I'll match it up to that curve. Kind of lightly. So I can wiggle it into place a little bit. You can see, if you do it right, you can't see the white at all. And then one last piece. So you could start with this little piece at the bottom. If you do, I still would lightly adjust it until it's exactly where you want it. But you do have a moment with art glitter glue to pull it up. So it just depends on the glue that you're using. So there's the hair. We're going to go ahead and put a little pop-up tape on the back because I think I want to pop up this element. I didn't do that on the first box, but I think it would look cool with the hair kind of popped up. So I actually added some pop-up tape for that step to the back. Just cut it to the lengths I wanted, or you can glue it on, but that's all ready to go when we get to that point. So the way this goes together is a little bit interesting, so you'll have to watch. So we have all these little pieces. These two are ears, and that'll go on the black piece, but I'm going to put that up there for now. This Then these. So these are going to go, let me just lightly piece it together so you can see it. So we have the lips, and we'll zoom in on that. So they're going to go like this. So this top piece I lightly inked. I'm just going to add a little glue to the back. If you didn't want this top piece, that's fine. You could just use that one if you wanted. Just going to go ahead and line it up here. I just lightly stuck it on to get that detail I wanted. So it is an additional detail that's a little bit different. And I know some people are like, well, why do you want that details? But when you see it up close, it looks really cool. So it'll sit in there, actually. So I'm going to put that in there so I don't lose it. And I'm going to do that to the little ears, too. This, so I'm going to make sure that this piece is up the textured side. So this is a little tricky. So this will go like this, but it's going to go on the back. So it's going to go like this. It's going to glue in the middle. But I'm going to show you how it's going to go. So from the front, as you can see, we want a little bit of space around the top and bottom. But those edges should go about right there. So we'll be able to do it upside down. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip this upside down. And we're going to flip this upside down. So we'll be able to see it from this side. And there's a little notch out for the nose, so you don't see the white through the nose. And we just want a little bit of space on the top and on the bottom. So we're going to add glue to this middle piece right here. So if there's a little glue that overlaps, it's okay. This will be glued on the black, so even though these two sides are not glued, it'll be fine. I just wanted a specific look, so I played around until I got it. So make sure the little bridge, that little arch right there, does not go through the opening. And you can see I have a little bit of these kind of go and touch, almost touch that right there. So I got them in place. So let me flip it over. Just make sure you have the correct way that the top, they're both upside down when you do this, and you can see it's like that. So what that's going to do, just to tell you really quick, if you're not quite getting it yet, it's going to bring that black through. So that's what I wanted to do. So, like that. Okay, so we can do the rest of it waltz on the black, but let's go ahead and put those ears on first. So the way you'll know whether they're right or left is this little circular corner. So that circular corner should be on the top, on both sides. So you see that little, right here, that circular corner? So this will fit like this. So let's go ahead and add glue to the back so I can show you. Make sure that you have the textured side up if you're using textured paper. I didn't want to use a whole, I could have used a whole green background, but to me it's a waste of paper when I could do the same, and it makes it thicker and then it doesn't get the same look. So I tried it both ways. I personally didn't like the look of having so many layers on the side showing through. So once you put everything together, of course the layers will show through on the side. So I try to minimize that. So that's the reason for these small, let's just dump the rest of it out. It really isn't that difficult, but it was just a matter of the look I wanted to achieve. So now we can see the ears. So the rest of this will go on the front. So we're going to go ahead and add glue around the edges. Be careful of the openings, so just try to stay a little bit away from the openings with the glue. Because all this, especially the eyebrows and around the eyes, are going to show through that black. So if for some reason you want to do a different color box, like this base. In the extra stuff folder, there's a black piece that's shaped just like this, just right here, cut off above. So you could use a different color box. I try to think like a crafter when I make these, and in my book, I like flexibility. Pieces of glue. And I have a little black showing up there. I went a little bit far down, but that's okay. It doesn't, not gonna cause any major. So that's what I mean by the edges. So you can see the green a little bit. I wanted to minimize that. So now the little lips fit right in that opening, and then you have that little black in the middle. So they should fit right in. And if you were off a little bit, they won't, but it's okay. Had to stop for a minute. I have dogs barking in my new location. And then these, so they're going to show through. Let me, right there. Oops. Got to get the right ones. So they're going to line up. See that little piece right here? Right here, and that round piece are just going to line right up. Like that. If it's a little bit off, I wouldn't be too concerned. If you're worried about that in particular, you could always clip it off a little bit. Just clip it off a little bit more. So if you were worried about it, I mean, I can cut it, but the thing is that you're always going to be slightly off. I mean, you may be perfect, but cuts are never going to be perfect. So I'm just going to use it as is on that left side. So it goes like this and like this. Okay. So that's where the fine tip applicator comes in handy. Got glue on my fingertips. So we're just going to line it up to the edge of that green. And then up like that. So if you do like our projects, I always ask you if you give me a little thumbs up below. And or subscribe to our channel. And if you hit that little notification bell to the right, you'll be notified when we have new videos. It's been a while, but I moved, so that's the reason why. So if you want to get glue on these little things, you can too by just kind of doing that or using a brush. And always have a wet paper towel if you're going to use your fingertips. So I'm going to line this up. And I always say don't put a lot of pressure to start with until you get it lined up. And it's cut, it's precise, so if it's off just a little bit, then you're going to see the grain a little bit. So there's the face. Dried glue on my fingertips. And then we'll go ahead and add that hair. So usually before I put it just straight on with glue, so you can do that and line it up. So if you do use a foam tape, and I'm using my preference is Scotch, but I have a bunch of it, so I don't want to waste it because I try all sorts of different brands. So this is a dollar store brand. In the US we have dollar stores. So I thought Dollar Tree, I thought I'd give it a try. It's okay. Probably not long term. The Scotch, it would hold better. And I think it's easier. Anyways, it's easier because you can tear it and everything else. So if I'm going to do it with foam tape, I'm just going to kind of try to line it up here and from the side. And do the best I can. But I like how pop-up foam tape gives dimension. And I forgot to add glue to the back of these white ones. So let's just add a dot of glue on each side. Hold it down. Let me give a little. If you don't have a piercer, it can be used for so many different reasons. That's another way that I use it. I put a little bit too much glue. So let's make sure I get that out. And you can add a little, I'll add some eye accents with the white pen. I have a white gel pen. They'll add just a little accents in here, similar to that. So I always say do it in pencil first, see if you like it, or practice. And I practice before doing it. So that takes a little concentration. I'm not going to do that. And then we have to add this back piece. So this is back of the head. We're just going to glue it on the inside, line it up. So we're lighting that edge up to that tap fold. The actual treat box itself is not really that hard. I just want to make a couple quick things because time has been limited lately for me. It'll get better. And I can get a little bit more involved items done once I can get my, I want to say craft room, office space in order, and I'm in a much smaller space. So we're just going to fold these in until it goes beyond the edge, just up to the edge, and you can put your fingertip there, and you can feel it. Then you can flip it upside down. Or you visually can see it if you go sideways. You can see it lines up there. It's on the straight edge. Once you get it in place, flip it over and add pressure inside. So we'll do the same on the other side. So it's a nice size for some Halloween treats. I always think during Halloween, I think of a couple things. I think of lanterns. So we have a couple of those, luminaries, things that light up because on Halloween, because I like those. And I think of little treat boxes. I'm not particularly the place to go for a Halloween card because I'm not personally, but probably because I never had kids, or it's just not something that I feel that I would use a lot. So I just don't make a, I may have made a couple of them, but I'm not really a big Halloween card maker. I'd rather focus on boxes and stuff for Halloween. So there it is. And I probably should have let it dry a little bit longer, but again, if you like this little Frankie's Bride treat box, I always appreciate a little thumbs up or subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.